UFC 324 concluded on Saturday night, marking the first main event of the Paramount era, and it did not disappoint, at least from an entertainment perspective. Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett went 5 rounds, where Justin Gaethje ultimately got the decision win over Paddy Pimblett, in which was a pretty big upset. I mean, a lot of people, including myself, picked Paddy to win this fight. So I'm going to break down this fight and tell you where I went wrong, tell you where Gaethje surprised me, where Paddy surprised me, good and bad, and see what's next for these guys. After rewatching this fight today, it really made me realize that Paddy had a lot more success on the feet than it seemed on the first watch. In rounds 1 and 3, specifically, he was having a decent amount of success. It felt like the shots were clean, just not clean enough to put Gaethje down. I don't know if that was due to Gaethje having an underrated chin, or, in my opinion, that Paddy just didn't really have the necessary power in any of his shots to impose any serious damage on Gaethje. There were definitely moments where Justin was stunned. He got cracked by a few jabs in a row, and he would be, a little dazed, kind of a little off balance. Paddy landed a few really big knees, but it just seemed to be a difference when Gaethje hit Paddy. Paddy also surprised me very much in the sense that he was not planning on wrestling at all. When he was talking about how he was going to rearrange Gaethje's face and make him look different and finish him, knock him out, I think it's safe to say we all thought he meant like when he took him down and ground and pound maybe. No, he meant he wanted to stand with Justin the entire fight. And I believe it was after the second or third round, Paddy goes to the corner and his coach tells him, "Hey, listen, we have to shoot. He's going to knock you out." It was something along, maybe it wasn't he's going to knock you out, but he's looking to knock you out. Something along those lines where they said, "Hey, dude, like, let's shoot on this guy. He is beating the shit out of us. Maybe let's not just stand there with our chin in the air, with our hands completely out, not blocking anything, and trying to land a big knee or a 1-2 down the pipe." So Paddy, I don't know if he abandoned the game plan or if it wasn't the game plan to begin with. He didn't really have any interest in wrestling, which really, really surprised me. I thought it was going to be similar to the Chandler fight where he was going to get going and then start looking for takedowns. But honestly, it kind of felt like a power dynamic switch from the Chandler fight to this fight, where Chandler was on the back foot. Chandler was getting pushed up against the fence. Paddy was able to get going what he wanted to get going, and it seemed completely opposite in this fight. Gaethje put the pressure on Paddy. He was always going second, by the way. Gaethje was countering everything that Paddy had, and he was landing big shots, letting Paddy throw these weak-ass combos that he was easily countering and easily cracking him every single time. Gaethje was winding up these massive shots that were either landing flush or just completely whiffing. This was just a bar fight. And this goes back to my original breakdown of the entire card where I said that these guys both aren't top 3 lightweights. And it showed. I mean, as good as Gaethje looked, it wasn't a clean performance by any means, especially against Paddy. I understand Paddy throws a lot, and he's difficult to deal with sometimes, but we just found out that he has no striking. He could put damage on bad strikers, but he can't block a punch from a legit striker to save his life. Gaethje was having his way with him. But I do want to mention something. The eye pokes, man. The eye pokes. I understand the first one, Mark Goddard gave him a warning. But that second one, dude, that one was really obvious. And it just so happened that Gaethje followed up with a clean shot after that, put him down. So Paddy couldn't really protest that. He was too busy getting, his head bounced off the floor. So Paddy was in a tough position there. I do feel for him in that sense because should have been a point taken. You never know what could happen if a point gets taken. Paddy gets a second wind, anything along those lines. But yeah, overall, Justin Gaethje it was a schoolyard beating, big brother, little brother. Paddy really didn't have much for him, except for a few landed combinations here and there. There was never really a moment. I think round 3 was a pretty close round. You could see Paddy outstruck him, out significant strikes. So I would, off watching that round today too, I would say it might have went to Paddy as well. But that was really the only one that I remember. So yeah, Justin Gaethje is your new lightweight interim champion. He's next in line for Ilia Topuria. If he comes back, if not, then Justin Gaethje is your undisputed lightweight champion, which is crazy that he was able to do this at 37. Even though he's not the best lightweight in the world. I mean, I could name probably 4 guys ahead of him, but maybe 5. But nonetheless, he did what he needed to do. So let's talk about what's next for these guys. Paddy. Let's start with Paddy. Paddy looks to go back down the lightweight rankings. He was number 5 going into this fight, and I can't see him getting the loser of Charles and Max. That would make the most sense, but I don't think they're going to give him a tough fight like that, Max Holloway or Charles Oliveira. I think it would be more so along the lines of, say, a Mateusz Gamrot, Benoit Saint Denis, if he can get a win against Dan Hooker. Someone along those lines, I think, is best suited for Paddy. Maybe even that Moicano fight that he's been wanting. Things along those lines, I think, could fit Paddy pretty well. Definitely needs to go back to the drawing board with the striking. If he can impose his will on guys like he did against Chandler, that would be his best bet. But I don't see that happening, man. This entire top 5 of lightweight, Ilia Topuria, Arman Tsarukyan, Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, these guys all destroy Paddy. Destroy. And that is not a joke. Gaethje loses to every single one of those guys. I mean, look at this. Max is all the way at the bottom of the top 5, basically, and he beat the shit out of Gaethje. Beat the shit out of him. Charles beat the shit out of Gaethje. Arman, I think we all know what Arman does to Justin. So, yeah, Paddy looks to probably go back to the drawing board. He's only 31, so he has some time to get better. But, yeah, I would eye maybe or even that Dan Hooker fight, honestly. I think that would be because of their rising beef. Maybe the UFC wants to, spice it up a little bit, get that trash talk started to bigger names, 2 guys who are more so personalities than they are actual skill. So that one would be good too. But I could see Paddy fighting anywhere from 6 all the way to 8, maybe Moicano at 10. Justin Gaethje looks to unify against Ilia Topuria. Ilia said that he is coming back April to June. So if that is actually the case, then I could see the UFC holding out a little bit, making that fight potentially at the White House, because Gaethje kind of personifies that whole United States, and he's fighting for a title. It's kind of hard to get any other U.S. athletes to be fighting for a title on that card, so that would be good. But if not, and if Ilia has too many problems going on and can't make that return, then Justin Gaethje becomes the unified lightweight champion of the world, in which I see him fighting Arman in his first defense. Technically, it would be his first defense. So Justin Gaethje versus Arman Tsarukyan for the belt sometime mid-year, maybe in the summer, which would be easy for Arman. I think it would be super easy for Arman. I think he subs him early, the first 2 rounds probably. Really to look forward to there. for Justin Gaethje, unless he just has turned a leaf. I mean, you never really hear about guys getting too much better at the ripe age of 37, but maybe Justin Gaethje is different. I'm not too sure, but I would put my money against it, and I would say that pretty much anyone else coming out of that top five gets one over on him. So yeah, I mean, overall, Justin Gaethje, he proved me wrong. He had some incredible striking. Landed the bigger shots against Paddy, dropped him a few times. The official number was 2, even though it felt like way more. It felt like everything he was throwing was hurting Paddy, busted him open. So just a great fight out of Justin Gaethje. Paddy looked the worst he's ever looked. I mean, he's never really shown us much against any good competition, obviously, but this one kind of just brought it to the light, man. It's just like, wow, this guy really was as bad as people were saying he was. What now? What now? And then he fights a guy that punches him back and gets the shit kicked out of him. It's funny. But yeah, I mean, we did lose out on Paddy versus Ilya, which would have been a massive, massive, massive fight. Could have seen that one selling a ton, even though there is no pay-per-views anymore. That's besides the point. We did miss out on Paddy versus Ilya, which is fine. We're going to get the old vet Justin Gaethje versus Ilya, which is bound to be fireworks. I mean, none of those guys are going to wrestle. Someone's getting knocked out probably. You could probably guess who, but but yeah, that's the full breakdown. That's pretty much all I got for you on UFC 324 main event, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. And look forward to the next video coming out. We have Volkanovski versus Lopez this week, so my full card breakdown and predictions are going to be coming out for that. We went 4 for 5 on the main card, only losing on the main event. I don't know how we did on the entire card, but it was probably decent if I went 4 for 5 on the main card. So look to build off of that. We're gonna go 5 for 5 this week. I'm feeling confident. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe, like, hit the notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.